What's going on, guys, and welcome back to WWE Network and Chill, where every single week I, Graham Giuseppe Matthews, break down all the content I watch on the WWE Network, as well as on the E! Network, as today we're talking Total Divas, Season 8, Episode 3. The weird thing here with the title of the show is that this episode was entitled The Real Nicole. The Bella Twins were hardly on this show at all, so I'm sure that was a botch, and I double-checked, too. It said that on Wiki when I Googled it, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's a mistake. And then I looked at my Xfinity recordings, because I record Total Divas every week to review here for the show. And it also said on demand it was called The Real Nicole. So it must have been some sort of production error, because the Bellas were not on the show whatsoever. And there was part of the description that said, like, oh, the Bella Twins go to Palm Springs to kind of find themselves, blah, blah, blah. They are on next week's episode. At least Brie Bella is. At least she's focused on, according to the advertisement for next week's show. But they were hardly on this show at all. Out of the 3 episodes of Season 8 so far, including episodes 1 and 2, they were on that one way more than they were this. They were in literally the first segment of this episode. They were debating the word penis for whatever reason, and that was it. Paige also took a backseat on this show, which was fine because she was kind of the central focus of the first 2 episodes. So I kind of like the focus on Lana this time, and Trinity, I like that. But yeah, it was, I guess it's called The Real Nicole, even though that Nicole Bella was not really on the show whatsoever. So yeah, we kick off the show with Nikki and Brie debating the word penis for whatever reason. Then we find out Paige was introduced as the all-new SmackDown Live GM after only retiring from the ring the night prior. So she's real excited for it and really happy to be still part of the WWE family despite having to retire from the ring the night after WrestleMania. So we got 3 different stories on today's episode, featuring one with Trinity and John, Jimmy Uso. I'm going to call them Trinity and John. I think I've called them Naomi and Jimmy Uso in the past just because John Cena's been on the show. I don't think John Cena's going to be on the show anymore, so that makes it a lot easier. I'll just call them Trinity and John. One with Lana, and then one with Natalya and Ronda Rousey. So with Trinity and John, Trinity praises John for his new lifestyle, losing weight, and he lost a lot of weight. She said around 50 pounds. It was very noticeable. I might have mentioned this in like my Backlash review here on Wrestle Rant earlier this year. But if you watch like old pay-per-views from like, I don't know about late 2016, but certainly early 2017, Jimmy Uso, he's not fat. He just has a much bigger build. Guy is very, I don't want to say he doesn't look stronger, just a lot bigger, but not fatter if that makes sense. But now he looks lean. He's a lean, mean fighting machine on SmackDown nowadays. So she praises him for changing up his lifestyle and losing the weight. And then John says, okay, maybe you can kind of follow in my footsteps. Not to say that Trinity's out of shape. She's one of the most athletic women in the entire roster. But he challenges her to not eat sweets for a week. And I guess she eats a lot of fast food and candy and McDonald's and stuff. And he wants to help her change that. So when he challenges her to not eat sweets for a week, she starts having cravings. And she can't really, she can't hide it either because she starts acting suspicious. She gets home. She kind of walks in the house a different way than she normally does. John picks up on that, looks in the garbage, and sees that she, I think, had a McDonald's cup in there. So she had McDonald's. And then there was even more food across the house that he went and threw away, including candy, Cheez-Its, you name it, he tossed it. And then Trinity says, the more that he keeps me from eating the sweets, the more that I want them, which is a natural human reaction to have. So John's probably not approaching the situation the best way he possibly can. And it takes it to an all-new extreme by getting a beekeeper to create real honey, to make real honey so they can eat it, so it kind of helps with the sweet situation. So she could still have the sweets, quote-unquote, not like candy, but like the sweet nectar of honey, whatever the fuck it is, I don't know. Without actually eating the candy. So he gets the beekeeper, they bring in the bees, they try it out. It's all over the place. She does not want bees in her backyard. She even says that, okay, this is a bit too far for my issue here. So then they get backstage at SmackDown a little while later, and she says to him, listen, I've been cheating on you, or at least on the diet, not on you specifically. That was kind of I'm sure John did not appreciate that line, but yeah, she says, I'm cheating on the diet, I've been eating sweets behind your back, it's just not working. If anything, I'm eating worse now than I was before. And I think it's because I'm doing it for you and not for myself, which is absolutely true. You can't be doing things for other people. If you really want to get something done, you have to be able to do it for yourself and want to do it for yourself. And she says that, he understands. And then he's like, just tell me that next time, and then we can talk about it, and you don't have to do it. So that's that. Our next story on today's episode was with Lana and Rusev. Lana is very upset that she's not been booked on SmackDown in months. She kicked off the year in that storyline with Tamina. I mean, she was doing that tag team with Tamina for a while, like 6 or 7 months. Then Tamina got hurt. Coincidentally enough, the last match that Lana was a part of, apparently, according to her here, I have to go back and check, I have no clue. She says the last time that she was on TV was the Women's Royal Rumble in January. That was the same match where Tamina got hurt. So once Tamina went down to the injury, Lana was shit out of luck because she had no storyline on the show. So she jokingly says to Paige backstage, hey, can you book me? Because Paige is like the GM now, even though she has no real power on the show. But she admits missing working with Rusev. She misses working with him and being on TV with him all the time. She hasn't been on TV in months. So as a result of that, she keeps herself busy by starring in a movie called Other Versions of You, also featuring Rusev. I guess her brother produced it. She helped produce it too. So she's really excited for that and, helps keep her busy on the side when she's not on SmackDown, which is, I guess, rarely ever at this point. They go to LA for a screening of the movie, and they're very disappointed. They're walking down Hollywood Boulevard, whatever the fuck it is, and there's no paparazzi. They're not being followed. They're very disappointed. More eyes are not on them than there already are. So they're like, where's the paparazzi? I'm going to make a call. So Lana calls fucking TMZ to get on down there, get some cameras on them, and ask them about why they're in LA, what they got going on, what's up. So all these cameras show up, all of 3 fucking people show up. It's pretty embarrassing. Lana, I'd rather have no paparazzi around than fucking like 3 cameras as opposed to like they were expecting swarms of people, whereas they just got like 3 people with camera phones. But yeah, someone from TMZ shows up and asks them about the movie, or no, she mentions the movie, but they really just kind of ask about the Undertaker match coming up at the Greatest Royal Rumble between Rusev and the Undertaker. So they run that video, they run that interview, but they exclude everything about the promotion for the movie. And Lana's very disappointed, but you can't be fucking surprised. They don't give a shit about the movie. No one knows what the movie is. They don't care about Other Versions of You. They only really care about the Undertaker and Lana. Or Undertaker and Lana. That'd be an interesting pairing. Undertaker and Rusev. The Undertaker-Rusev match at Greatest Royal Rumble. That's what TMZ cares about. That's what people are going to read into. That's what's going to make them click on their website, on the story. And newsflash, it's fucking TMZ. They do this type of shit all the time. So Lana thinks, her line of thinking here is that in getting this movie, being a part of this movie will help her get booked and tell stories. Because she admits that there's no greater feeling in the world than being a part of a compelling story, whether it be in a movie or on TV. That's what she ultimately wants to get back to doing. And she feels forgotten by being left out in the back, not doing anything on TV. And she kind of gets upset when her and Rusev are at dinner. So they go to another extreme. Rusev shows support for her wife, as he should. And he says, I would do anything for you, including doing a nude shoot. I would do a nude shoot with you. Obviously, he was joking, and that was a planted line to lead into our next little thing here. Lana takes Rusev to the beach to do a photo shoot, but not any ordinary photo shoot, a implied nude photo shoot. So for those of you that missed the Ms. and Mrs. premiere a few months back, an implied nude photo shoot is essentially when they appear to be nude and they're wearing like flesh-colored underwear and bikinis and whatever, and they blur out like the tits and the ass and all that other stuff. So you don't actually see that in the final project and the final product, in the final pictures. So they do that. Rusev is not really all that happy with it at all, though he does like his legs being shown off. He does like that. And it was just hilarious seeing him. He's like, oh yeah, you continue to see my legs. Like, that's more like he kind of rolls up the boxers or the underwear or the whatever the hell it is, the tights that he has on, just to kind of show off his legs in the picture, which is really, really funny. So it's kind of as an ode to a movie called From Here to Eternity. From Here to Eternity. I guess it came out in like the 1950s or something. So anyway, obviously, if you work in any line of work, such as WWE, you have to assume that the company is going to find out about it. So they get called into the principal's office, that being Mark Carano's office. Good old Mark Carano. We have not seen him here on the show in a while. So he finds out about it, and he's like, what the fuck is going on? Not essentially saying what the fuck, but he's like, okay, what's going on here? He was a lot nicer about it than I thought he would be. And Lana goes, I just want to set a good example, blah, blah, blah. By doing all this and that. And Carano's like, listen, it's a PG company. You can't set a good example for your 8-year-old fans on Instagram if you're out there doing a nude photo shoot. I don't care whether... Lana's like, oh, it was okay. We weren't actually nude. It's like, but the people who saw the pictures don't know that. And WWE is getting in headlines. I don't even remember this happening, to be honest with you. WWE's name is in the headlines for something other than their own product. It's for a couple that's doing a nude photo shoot on the beach. And that's not what they want to be involved in because they're a PG company. They have sponsors, blah, blah, blah. He's like, if you're going to do something dumb like that next time, at least ask for clearance. You know, if you want to do it on your own time for your own personal collection, that's fine. Do you? But I would not do this publicly. And it's a very logical thing to think, and Lana should have realized that before she went ahead with it. And then Lana goes outside. She asks the fans what they want from her. Do you want me with long hair? Do you want me wearing dresses? Do you want me wearing my normal onesie suit? Blah, blah, blah. What about just getting better in the ring? Like, I know Rusev said earlier on in the episode, like, oh, yeah, you're getting better in the ring. You have all the assets to be on TV right now. It's like, she's really not that good. She's really good with Rusev. I think that's a great pairing. But beyond that, I think on her own, she kind of sort of sucks. So I'm not really sure why she's not focusing more on that. She's like, oh, I got to change up my look. It's not your look. She's very pretty. It's just the fact that she is absolutely awful in the ring. And her mic skills, I mean, they're good, but the lack of accent goes in, and now it's very confusing. Anyway, our final story on this episode, Natalya gets drafted to Raw in the Superstar Shakeup. But not only that, it came right off of WrestleMania 34. Excuse me. Where apparently at WrestleMania 34, Natalya had a wardrobe malfunction in the WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal, where I guess her crotch was exposed. Again, I have no knowledge of this whatsoever. I did not even know this happened. But apparently it was a big thing. Everyone on social media was talking about it. She was chastised for it by her friends, by her fans, blah, blah, blah. But she is on Raw now. She's excited for a new change, for a new challenge. She's not happy with the wardrobe malfunction and learns that she's going to be working with Ronda Rousey on Raw. And she doesn't want this cloud of controversy surrounding her, even though it's not really a controversy because she did nothing wrong. Shit happens. Especially with the women in WWE, with what they wear sometimes, you have to expect this type of thing is going to happen from time to time. So she talks with Ronda backstage. I'm actually very surprised they got Ronda here on the show. I thought she'd be like, get the fuck away from me. I don't want to be on the show. Get these cameras out of my face. And they definitely kept their distance. I will say that when she's talking with Nia and Ronda backstage, the cameras aren't up in their face as much as they usually are. They're kind of like back a bit, probably because they don't want to piss off Ronda. But Ronda did appear here on the show, both here and a little later on as well, which was cool. So I guess that explains why they showed Ronda's WrestleMania debut and her Royal Rumble debut a few months ago here on the show. It's because they were planning on incorporating her into the show, not as a full-blown star, but because she'd be involved with Natalya and storyline coming out of WrestleMania. So anyway, Paige and Nia call up Natty and kind of make fun of her for the wardrobe malfunction, not really making Natalya feel good about it. Natalya's mom goes, again, the extra mile and buying new underwear for Natalya to kind of help her protect her under regions or nether regions, whatever. So she buys underwear that's way too big for her. That's probably big enough to fit her dad, who is all over this episode, by the way. And it's very sad to see because Jim Neidhart, Natalya's legitimate father, passed away only a few months ago, only right before SummerSlam. So it's kind of heartbreaking to see him. And they did air a little tribute to him at the end of this episode, like one of the in memoriam graphics, which was cool. But it is sad to see him on this show, considering, I mean, she even says here, like, he's got to watch what he's eating, and the guy passed away from, I think, a heart attack or something like that just a few months later, so very sad to see. But anyway, Natalya finds out when she gets to Raw the very next week that she's in the Raw main event, which I think was the final Raw before Greatest Royal Rumble. WWE's make good for not including them on that show, I believe. So they were in the Raw main event. She feels everyone's talking about the malfunction and not, not her in-ring abilities, not her being in the Raw main event and all this other stuff. So Nia Jax talks to her about it before the match, and she says, listen, you're just kind of getting in your own head. Let it go. It's not that big of a deal. You didn't get a DUI. You're not on a drug bust here. Calm down. That's what Natalya says. She's like, oh, it's like a DUI. I wanted to strive to not get any of this stuff. It's like, listen, it's not your fault. Shit happens. Happens to everybody. So Natalya agrees, I got to let it go and just kind of go out there and really relieve the pressure from being involved in the Raw main event. She does well. I think her team won, and she's excited for what's to come. She gets to work with Ronda a lot. We see a final clip of her and Ronda talking about the reaction they received when they came out that night for Raw, for that main event, and they're excited to see where they go with their story in the months that follow. So that wraps up Season 8, Episode 3 of Total Divas, entitled The Real Nicole. Again, I don't know if that was changed, but that's what it said on Wiki, as well as on Xfinity's stream, on their on-demand service when I checked out the episode. So maybe they changed the title. I would hope they would have, or they made a mistake or something, because the Bella Twins are in this episode for all of 30 seconds, if that. So I'm not really sure why it's called The Real Nicole. And I tried to look up, too, is that the Total Bellas episode that I just accidentally looked up? But I guess not. It is the episode title for this show, The Real Nicole, for Season 8, Episode 3. So that's a bit confusing. But overall, it was great to see more attention kind of given to Lana and Trinity especially. She's one of the most level-headed people on this entire show. So more of Trinity and especially of John is a good thing. So I appreciated that. And then next week we get, like I said, Brie Bella's on the show next week talking about breastfeeding and her baby and how she can't breastfeed anymore, blah, blah, blah. I think that happens next week. Something going on with Paige. I don't really remember, but just more stuff to come here on Total Divas, starting with next week's episode, which I will be reviewing here on the channel. Like I said, the reviews are usually up on Fridays or Saturdays, so stay tuned for that. Anyway, guys, be sure to like this video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more content. We'll be back here on the channel throughout the week next week with more Network and Chill, Wrestle Rant, #AskGSM, Wrestle Rant radio excerpts, and much, much more. So be sure to subscribe today for more content, as I said earlier. All that being said, folks, have a great rest of your weekend. I'm Graham GSM Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.